WOCA.
Ocala.
It's now?
Yes. There we go. Live intro music. There you go. That is Mark Johnson. Mark is in the studio. Emory Lester is on the phone. I understand up in Canada somewhere. Let me get this picture on here so we can see him on the video streaming thing. You'll see Mark. You won't see Emory. We don't have a video phone right now. But Mark is in the studio, and they both will be over at the Ocala Civic Theater this coming Saturday. You got a much shorter drive, Mark, than Emory. He's up in Canada. They are performing on Saturday 2 shows, and we've been giving tickets away, actually, to the Ocala Civic Theater. Mark is the banjo wizard, it says here, deemed one of the greatest banjo players in the world.
Wow.
Award-winning banjoist, songwriter, instructor for his clawgrass-style banjo workshops, and director of the Levy... Is it Levy or Levi? Levy County Emergency Management. I should know it. And Emory is on the phone. Emory Lester is an award-winning guitarist and mandolinist, deemed one of the elitist mandolinists, I think Robin wrote this, of our time.
That's
and
right.
Instructor for his guitar and mandolin
wonderful.
workshops. Again, they will be at the Ocala Civic Theater this Saturday, 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Get your tickets now because they're going quick. And before we say anything else, I want to say this, Mark. I've worked with Robin a long time. And I know when we have a handsome guy or a striking man in the studio, she gets giddy. Now,
I do.
you were in our presence. You were in our studio before, and you impressed Robin so much with your love of Altoids.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Altoids. So she actually brought you 3 cans of Altoids.
Oh, God, yes. Thank you.
So it's not the banjo playing that impressed her. It's not your rugged manliness. It's the Altoids.
It's the clean breath.
And your thank you note that she wrote. That was so sweet. That was, wow. We still have that thank you note, too.
Right.
They're even gift wrapped, too. That's
I know.
three cans of Altoids. Emory, you didn't get any Altoids today.
No, but I get giddy when I get around Mark as well.
Oh, that's too funny. Now, how come? Why are you up in Canada? Is that where you live?
Yes, it is, and I'm not so fortunate as to live in such a wonderful state as you guys do, but you never know. Maybe in the future things might go that way. We just never know.
So we'll talk music, but how did you guys meet? You're in Florida. He's up in Canada.
Emory, I'll let you handle that one.
Were you giddy when you met?
we both had a long interest in music, bluegrass and acoustic music, and our paths kind of crossed through a mutual friend, a great banjo player named Bill Emerson, who the world of bluegrass renounce as one of their heroes. Of course, he's earned that status. But I played with Bill Emerson for 5 years in the state of Virginia in a band, and he knew of Mark, and Mark, of course, had done some recording and some, friendship with Bill, and Bill kind of decided the both of us to play together, and kind of in his Navy fashion, because he was with the Navy band at some point, told us that we will play together.
Oh wow!
It was an order.
So,
oh wow! And was it difficult? Was it difficult, or when you first start to play with somebody new?
No,
not at all.
Not with Emory. We, the way that happened, a buddy of mine, John West, and I drove up from Fredericksburg, Maryland, where the studio was where we were recording my second album. It was Bridging the Gap on Pine Castle. And Bill had given us directions, and I had contacted Emory. I'd met him once before playing with him. And Emory was living on the top of this mountain up in Front Royal. And we got up there, and it was on the top of a mountain. All these switchback roads getting all the way up there. We thought we were going to die.
Wow.
But once we got there, it was worth every moment of it. And it's like walking up on a brother. And the synergy, musical synergy, was right there. The moment we struck our first notes, I remember Emory's wife at the time and John just everybody looked at you and goes, "Oh my goodness, these guys don't even have to talk; they just understand when they play with each other."
Oh wow!
And we stayed up. God, Emory, how many hours that night? 2 or 3?
No, it was a long time. Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
It was, and that's just.
Emory, is your primary instrument acoustic guitar or mandolin, or is it kind of one either or?
Well, I love them all, but I've had a long career as a mandolin player and a lot of albums as a mandolin player, so I'm primarily known for that.
Okay.
I kind of learned guitar to support my own mandolin habit, as Don Sternberg likes to put it, and that served me well when I met Mark, and because that's exactly what that music needs as well. So it seems we just were all equipped and ready to work together, and it's been creative and fun ever since, and just gets better all the time.
Yeah, let me take a shot at this. We put an album out in '06, and it got us nominated for Instrumental Album of the Year in Nashville up at the IBMA, the International Bluegrass Music Awards. When we did that album, it was on Crossroads Mountain Home label out of Asheville, North Carolina. And the people that came to do the liner notes were the greatest mandolin players on the face of the earth, and they were coming to take their hat off to Emory Lester.
Oh, wow.
And the liner notes were just amazing. The name of the album was Acoustic Rising. It was
I think I have that album.
Yeah, that's the one. It had, Ricky Skaggs did the liner notes. David Grissman did the liner notes.
Wow.
And the late Larry Rice, right out of Crystal River, did the liner notes. And they're all taking their hat off to Emory. Emory's real modest about this, but he's probably one of the top 10 mandolin players in the nation, recognized by those people.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And so will you be playing mandolin on Saturday?
Sure will, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're going to need a broom to sweep the notes up.
We watched the segment where the two of you were on David Letterman. And while they were celebrating Mark Johnson, who was worthy of being celebrated in the same way you just celebrated Emory, we were looking at you, Emory, saying, "Wow, look! Watch how he plays that guitar."
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Well, obviously Mark has deserved that award since it started, and I'm just real happy to see him get it. What he does is actually the very definition of that award, and so it's just an honor to be part of that and be invited to join them and to be able to play a guitar solo in the middle of that too. So I made out pretty well there, and I'm very grateful for it.
Did you guys go out with Steve Martin and David Letterman later on?
Actually, I flew into town. When we got nominated and went up to the Grand Ole Opry for our nomination back in '07, the winning project, there were 5 nominees. Skaggs was one of them, him and Kentucky Thunder, us, I think a fiddle player from Rhonda Vincent and from Vince Gill's band. But the winning project was Tony Trishka's Double Banjo Spectacular. Steve Martin was on that.
Oh, wow.
And right after, I started getting correspondence from him in the mail. These cards, I love your kind of music, so beautiful and emotional. And then the next one would be humorous. I get a card saying, although I hate to spend the money, I'm sending both you and Emory a copy of my new CD, which was The Crow. It says, I've played yours so much I've worn the needle out. Oh, maybe that's why it's got scratches all over the CD.
Oh, wow.
And then it just turned to emails, and then Steve was so interested in what I was doing that he started bringing me up. He flew me up to his home in New York City, and I've been teaching him. I've been to his house or with him in Nashville about 5 times and showing him. I didn't invent the clawhammer style. I just took a variation of it and came up with my own sound. And the people that helped me develop it were people like the Rice brothers, Tony Rice on guitar, Emory.
Well, one of the things I was reluctant to ask you, because I'm afraid that you get it asked all the time, was to define what it is, what the clawhammer is. But I'm guessing that's kind of boring for you because you probably tell people all the time what it is. No. With
bluegrass music, you play with finger picks, and you do that hard. And I'm a Scruggs player. I play bluegrass. So is Emory. Emory's a killer banjo player. But with clawhammer, it's an old Appalachian mountain sound, and there's variations of it throughout the United States. In Northeast, Michigan, Deep South, you play with the backs of your fingernails. And but this is where I get a little lost on this one, Emory. You might have to jump in, but I always thought I played old-time music, but there's a DJ, Mr. Higgs out of NPR Nashville. He's been following our career, my career, really closely, and he said that all the people that you ran into all your life who you didn't know who they were, like Jay Unger from The Great Fiddler, who wrote Ashokan Farewell for Ken Burns' Civil War thing, Taj Mahal, ran into him, didn't know who he was at the time. All these people had an influence of it. It was really Tony Rice and Larry Rice right over in Crystal River. And that shaped the way I played.
Isn't that amazing? Right in our own backyard.
Yeah. Emory says that, what was that, Emory? That 1,000 lightning bolts. would hit this, a million times in one spot with me. Well, Dave Higgs up in Nashville said that I was raised by musical wolves.
Well, I can say that Mark has been very fortunate in his life with the people that he's been able to meet and be around, and the influence of them. Of course, they all have a very lofty abilities in music, and Mark has absorbed it all and has become quite a musician. He just happens to use clawhammer banjo as his outlet for it, and I think that's a good description of it. Maybe that's a description of clawgrass, just making music and using that instrument and that style to get that music out of him in, and it's been quite creative.
Wow. And Emory's quite creative himself. I mean, that's probably why we hit it off because we know how to sense our way through the music. We write a lot of our own stuff.
Well, let me ask you about the songs themselves, sure, if I could. When in the style that you play, when you perform a song that you've recorded, is it like if like a pop musician goes on stage, they try to make it sound exactly like it does on the record? Mm-hmm. I'm often thinking that in your style, A, it's not necessary to do that, and B, it may not be possible. Am I right about that?
Well, that's a great question. When we perform, we try to bring it as close to studio as possible, but there are times when we're performing where we will just start reaching out just for the entertainment value and really stretching with what we do.
Yeah.
And
that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you just go to town.
Oh, yeah, it gets the crowd whipped up.
It's kind of hard to do that on a recording because you're kind of limited by time, I would think.
Well, the songs are structured such that they have areas in them for improvisation. There are a lot of the parts of the songs are rehearsed and have to be done the same way. Of course, obviously, I can't drive around the corner to rehearse with Mark a lot, so it's probably good that those things stay the same for the most part.
Are you both songwriters? Are you both write?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Emory's one of the strongest writers I've ever heard. But yeah, I write a lot of stuff on the banjo, and it's just a way of being able to communicate. I'm not a very good poet, and I don't write well. But it's a way of just.
But it comes out in notes.
Well, it's a way of saying how I feel in my music.
You look like you're ready to play something, and I hope you
sure.
are. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to do Inagata Davida, all 17 minutes of it. Emory's going to do the rap.
What would that sound like? What would that sound like on a banjo?
Can I sing? Can I sing? It might be out of time because of the delay.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit of a delay.
What do you want me to play?
Anything. Play something you're going to play on Saturday. Can you do that?
We
play a little John Wilkes Booth there, Mark.
All right.
Well, before you play, tell me about it. What is it?
It's
a song you wrote?
No, it's a tune that Tony Rice created the music to. Tony Rice, we're all real big history fans, Emory and myself and Tony, and we have all parts of American history. I'm into the American Civil War. Tony Rice was into the Lincoln Booth conspiracies and just reading up about that. And he wrote this tune about Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth. It's a ballad. It's one of those incredible ballads we ever heard. The lyrics are incredible. We don't give you lyrics. We just take the music to it. But he wrote the music, and he collaborated with Mary Chapin Carpenter to write the lyrics.
Oh, wow.
But Emory and I were so infatuated with the actual music that was created for that I brought a version to it. We both kind of adjusted it and came up with a version called John Wilkes Booth, where we play it with guitar and banjo, but I'll just try to do it on the banjo.
Okay, all right, great.
Hear that, Emory?
You get that thing in tune now, boy.
Do I see a capo on there? Is there a capo on there?
Yep. Here we go. Key of D.
Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. Yeah. Wow, we don't want you to stop.
Your fingers look like they were floating. I mean, no effort at all.
That's the way we play. We just love what we do, and we've been at it for so long that I think for all you aspiring musicians, and for anybody out there that is learning to play an instrument, there are thresholds you'll cross. But after a while, those thresholds become history. They just come locked into you, and then you can really start expressing yourselves.
Oh, I like that. That is absolutely true. Yeah.
Robin, did you check out those fingernails on him there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see them. They look totally. Women would kill for those fingernails.
Wait a minute. With all that stress you're putting on them, how do they stay so perfect like that?
Oh, I go over to my favorite Vietnamese nail salon over here, the folks over at Pro Nails. 200. I've been going there about 17 years now.
Are they real nails or?
No, they're acrylics. You can't use real nails and do this.
Oh, okay.
I had an incident where I was actually working with the Tony Rice and his brothers, where I was playing with natural nails, and I came down on the top of the string, and it cut right through the top of the middle finger, and it bled on the banjo. And Tony, they looked over at me. The whole crowd did just that, you know. And
he's a heavy metal banjo player.
Yeah. So I said, there's got to be a better way. And it's an old flamenco guitar trick to put acrylic nails on. It's an old studio trick, and they use it in Nashville all the time.
So and the emergency management part of your life, it must consume a lot of time. How do you have time to practice?
Well, that is my primary job. I'm in public safety for the county over there. I'm the director of emergency management. And we do planning, training, exercising. We support emergency response. We're in the direction and control level. We have to activate the Emergency Operations Center for mostly hurricanes, but wildfires.
Wow,
floods.
You probably don't know the answer to this question, but here's the question.
How do I do it?
No. How many people in Levy County, maybe in emergency management, have you inspired to pick up a banjo and learn to play it?
You're right. I don't. There are several people who come to me to ask if I give lessons. I do give lessons. In fact, I just started hanging my shingle out right here in the Ocala area, over where I live. I live between here and Denellen, and I get people coming in from all around the country.
You know, I think I saw you at Publix one time.
Really?
I think, yeah, the Publix on 200, the new one, relatively new one, I think. Yeah.
What was he buying?
I think it was meatloaf. I'm not sure.
Meatloaf. Yeah.
I think it was microwave meatloaf. No, I don't really know. But I thought I saw you. I wasn't sure it was you. And
I go there. Yes, I use that one.
And I don't even walk up to women and say hi, so I'm not going to walk up to a man.
There you go.
Now Robin would, because she gets giddy, you know.
Yeah. And Emory, you have a day job also. Plus, you also teach. You go all over the world to teach at schools. You have different workshops. How do you find the time to just have time for yourself and the mandolin and guitar?
Well, there just never seems to be enough time for anything like that, and but we do our best every day with it. I work for an engineering company in Barrie, Ontario, Canada, so even though I'm doing something else all day, I'm basically practicing music in my head all day, and that's you know how that is, Mark, the same way.
Oh yeah.
And then of course teaching. I have some wonderful students here locally that I spend time with, and they all have learned quite a lot, and they keep me on my toes and keep my teaching chops up, and actually keep me playing a lot as well. So, and in between that, I'm either traveling or recording here. I have a studio at my house as well, so I'm doing tracks for somebody and sending them out. So I remain very busy with it. I actually injured my shoulder a couple weeks ago, so I'm just getting back into business here. I kind of had to take a break for a little bit, and that was kind of hard, but we mended up fine. So I'm all ready to go now. So.
Well, one of the things that I've always been impressed with bluegrass was the fact that there's nothing synthetic happening. When you go to a live show, Robin and I became familiar with Rhonda Vincent over at the Orange Blossom Opry.
Yeah.
Sure.
Have you played there, by the way?
Years ago.
Years ago?
Years and years, when it was some other name, but it's in Weirsdale, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it's an old high school.
Yeah, an old school.
It's an amazing thing that they've put together.
Yes.
But anyway, and Robin became friends with the fiddle player you were talking about. Hunter? Is it his
Hunter.
first name? Or is it somebody else?
Hunter Berry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact,
he's
she's
a great guy.
he's her son-in-law now. He married her daughter, I think.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Rhonda Vincent's son-in-law, not mine.
Wow.
No, not Robbins. Rhonda's.
Oh.
But anyway, so I have a question about the.
Married in there, huh?
This is a good interview.
I know.
But wait a minute, I
I'm
have
gonna give Rhonda a call.
but I have a question about that whole synthetic stuff. You don't use it on stage ever, right? There's nothing. Everything's what we hear is what we see you playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we don't go electric.
And I know that, but
there might be a little
100% handmade.
is it ever in the studio though when you're putting together a song? Do you ever like sweeten it with a synthetic?
Never.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Never.
That's what I knew, but I wanted
I wouldn't
the
know
audience.
how to do it. I mean, I have hard enough time going. What kind of microphone is this, Emory? How do you plug it in?
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, the nature of our music is by and large it's traditionally just straight up and the way it sounds without a lot of effects and stuff like that. So we've tried to heed to the tradition, and we like the sound of our music the way it comes out of the instruments, and so we try to keep that. That's not to say we would never try something crazy like that. I've crossed our mind. So
Yeah, one of the things we have done is we've expanded the act since we were here in 2009. We're bringing in Mr. Keen Hyde on stand-up bass. This will be a trio this time.
Oh, you have a third
Wow.
person. Okay.
Yeah, this is it really rounds out the sound, and Emory and Keen have been playing for years, and Emory and I and Keen have played several times together, and we're really looking forward to having that rounder sound.
This Saturday, for those who haven't been paying attention to this, Mark Johnson and Emory Lester will be at the Ocala Civic Theater. And tell me the gentleman's name, the third man?
His name is Keen Hyde.
Keen Hyde, okay, and he'll be accompanying the two of you. Are you playing songs from one particular album?
Oh,
or?
actually, we're going to play songs from all our albums, but we've got a new album coming out. This is the sesquicentennial of the American Civil War, 1863, with all the great battles, the Chancellorsville, Vicksburg, and Gettysburg.
Wow.
Gettysburg is July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So in honor of that, the Civil War music, the American Civil War music, was so beautiful. It was Scotch, Irish, and right around the same time, Joel Sweeney was it's undeniable, was the African rhythmatic addition to the Scotch-Irish music, which really started leading and lending itself to more rhythmatic tunes, really defining American traditional music. Joel Sweeney put a fifth peg on a banjo right about 1850s.
Ah, that
So
explains that. Huh?
the music that we're doing, when those soldiers would go off to war, both sides, they figured it's all going to get over with in a month or two, and they're all, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
March music, well, as the war drug on, a lot of that music went over into more of a refrain and just became gorgeous music. And Emory and I always like to take that stuff and dismantle it and then reassemble it in the way we approach our music. And I think we're gonna play a lot of that for the folks over there and talk about it and just really enjoy it and celebrate who we are as Americans.
Wow. Well,
That's wonderful.
we are looking
Give me
forward to
chills.
the show. I know our listeners are. If I could squeeze in one phone call, I know we're right up at the end of the interview, but I have somebody on the phone. Good morning. You're on the air with Mark Johnson and Emory Lester.
Hey guys, this is Jim Long, Mark, Max's dad.
All right.
I am so glad that you guys are having this success. I followed you for years. I saw you over the Withlacoochee Bluegrass, and I'm just pleased as punch. I'm just about as proud of you as I would be of old Max.
Well, thank you. What an honor. We're speaking about the old Withlacoochee Bluegrass Festival. Between that one and the Sertoma Youth Ranch in Dade, the festival there, which are the two festival sites in Florida, that's where my banjo sound was defined at those two festivals. Withlacoochee's long gone, but Sertoma Youth Ranch is still going. I'm actually on the board of directors down there, and the festivals are great.
Wow.
But this gentleman here is talking about the great days at the Withlacoochee. Don't you miss them?
Yes, sir, I most assuredly do. That's a beautiful place, but it's the music that comes from there, the campfire picking and all that, man, I'll tell you, I really do miss that. And I appreciate the albums that you sent me, and I love them. I've got them on my smartphone, and I play them in all kind of places, sitting around waiting on doctors or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
you
you honor us. I can
Yes,
speak
sir.
for myself and Emory on this. You honor us. Thank you so
Well,
much.
I'm still trying to get that bum titty bump, but it's not working too good. I'm going to have to go out and spend some time with you, I guess.
You have to meet that threshold.
Yeah.
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 I'll tell you what, there's another thing we did about 12 years ago. Ken Perlman, the great clawhammer player, and I started the Swanee Banjo Camp. And I think it's 10 or 12 years now. I had to get out of it because of the 04-05 hurricane season just killed me.
Yeah.
But we hold it up at Oleno State Park. We just had it in March. It's mid-March every year.
Oh, wow.
And we
Wow.
had over 165 students. We bring the best banjo players on the face of the earth, bluegrass and old time. Next year, come on out to that. And we do novices, intermediate, advanced, and you'll walk away with more in 3 days than you ever did in a whole year.
I bet you.
I'm glad I took the call. Thank you for the call.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mark, thank you for coming in. Emory, thank you for being on the phone with us. You guys, Emory, be careful coming down to Florida and see Disney World when you come down. No.
Take care of your shoulder because that's important.
Oh, I will. I'm all good and ready to go.
There's
so
always
no
a
one will-
banjo player on some corner in Disney World. Have you ever noticed that?
Is it?
Absolutely.
You want to take us out?
I'll love to take you out.
Once again, just to repeat, Mark and Emory will both be at the Ocala Civic Theater this coming Saturday at 2 and at 7:30. Robin has put many postings on Facebook to make sure that the word gets out, and we've been talking about it ever since we found out about it. Emory, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you very much. Great to talk with you.
And Mark is going to take us out. Go ahead.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
The sound of the bat cracking, the crowd cheering, the smell of overpriced but tasty hot dogs, the memories that will last a lifetime of your first baseball game with Little Johnny. Your team wins. It was a great night until you get home. It's 9 p.m. and your wife says you have no water.
We have no water.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Rule number 1, don't panic.